Hi and welcome to MyCTOfriend, the place where non-technical founders build successful startups by improving their tech management skills. I am Amaury and today I'm going to answer a question from Paul, the founder of an interactive chat application. His question is, my provider hasn't delivered on the expected time. What should I do? Unfortunately, not all software development companies are used to working with startups. Coding a startup application is more a matter of agility and adaptability, especially regarding specifications. Here are the classical reasons why sometimes providers are not able to deliver on time. First, the specifications might have changed several times. Or a part of the application wasn't expected to be developed, like back office or landing pages. There were technical challenges that took more time to solve. Or for HR reasons, like a turnover or a leaving key person. Or maybe because of another client project that became the priority of your provider. If, like Paul, you are facing this situation, you will have to react at some point. Building a startup is not only a matter of building a product, but more a matter of doing business at the right time to market it. So, if your provider hasn't delivered, there are three ways to move on from this. You can either help your provider find solution so that he can deliver as soon as possible, or you can find someone else to finish the work, reusing developed components. And in this case, you would only pay the first provider based on the work they accomplished thus far. And the last exit, which I hope you avoid, is to restart from scratch for technical or legal reason. This is the worst situation, but unfortunately, this one is the most common. Now, what's going to guide you towards one solution or another is the relationship with your provider. This is usually very difficult, but during the process, you've got to have lots of empathy to try to solve problems as a team instead of just expecting a provider to deliver because you have a contract. If you are in this process, here are my recommendations. By now, you might already know that without the source code, you cannot move forward. So if you don't have access to it, your first goal will be to get access to it. For this very first step, you will need to work hand in hand with your providers. Letting him know, because you are losing business opportunities, it's not possible for you to wait anymore. That is why you would like to bring in some help, maybe a friend or an expert, to at least contribute to the development. Let's be clear. If you are already in a conflict with your provider and you don't have access to the source code, that's a very bad start. Without the source code or at least access to the server where the application is stored, you can't do anything. So it may be a sensitive subject, but again, your first goal will be to get that access. Next, the technical evaluation of what you already have. This might be with the help of that technical friend or expert, someone that can run an audit on the current development or at least on the test application. And a good CTO with a real technical background will be the best help for this. This technical evaluation can be based on the application's demonstration, but it is, of course, a lot better if you can do it with the source code. I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but I always recommend founders to ask developers to work on the startup source code repository, because it always allows founders to get an external evaluations if they want to, and also because in case of a conflict, you can move forward with the current software, while the legal procedure is running in parallel. So if you don't have access to the source code yet, a technical evaluation on the application can still help you understand the quality of the portion you have already access to. Now, if you do have access to the source code, that's very good news. Ask a professional to evaluate it, to find out if the code is well written, if you are close or not to the end, and to figure out how much it would cost to finish the development by yourself if the provider cannot deliver. So far, we are under the assumption that the startup is not in production mode yet. But if that is the case, we also need to ask for access to the hosting environment. That may be a cloud provider access, a server access, API access, etc., etc. If you already have some users, it means that you are in production mode, and you need to know how to access all these services. A few years ago, I saw a developer turning off a server and stealing the source code as a result of a conflict with the founder. It led nowhere, and the startup failed. That's why, again, it is for your own interests that you need to have the preparation and the empathy to ultimately get what you need to move forward with or without your first developer. Let's assume that you have the source code, and someone analyzed what you have so far and confirmed that we can finish the work with someone new. You might now be aware of what needs to get done, so you must have a very transparent discussion with your provider. Define if they can provide a suitable developer to finish everything within a new tight deadline. You cannot afford to lose any other business opportunities, right? If they can't, and especially if your provider doesn't propose a real change in its organization, find someone new and negotiate your provider the pay for the development time spent thus far. During negotiations, keep in mind that the root cause of a missed deadline often lies on both parties. Normally because things weren't defined well enough at the beginning. So consider your losses, but also the value of the software produced so far, which might be more than the initial value of the contract. To conclude, you need to get the source code, ask for a technical evaluation, audit the source code if possible, ask for access to the production environment, and decide what the best way to move forward, either reusing or not the work accomplished thus far. And finally, define who is going to finish it, the provider or someone else. Just try to negotiate with your provider to share responsibilities with you. And if, like Paul, you have specific questions for your project, just go ahead and ask on myctofriend.co/ask. I will do my best to answer your question by video or to redirect you to existing content that will answer it. And also be sure to go through other courses at myctofriend.co to learn more from real startup growth experience and avoid this type of situation. Waiting for your question? I look forward to seeing you in other videos. Cheers!